Welcome to Spooky News for March 12th, 2021. It's been exactly a month since the last Spooky News, and there's a lot of spooky news to cover, but there are a few things to get out of the way first. One of those things is to talk about the interactive nature of Spooky Ventures. Literally everything about Spooky Ventures is supposed to be interactive, but that's perhaps even more true of our YouTube channel than anything else. Be sure to like our videos, share our videos, and comment. Let us know if you'd like to see something covered. We have done videos based on recommendations from our viewers and love to do that. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel. Also, while you're at it, be sure to check out the main page at spookyventures.com. Secondly, I wanted to remind you that there are more information and source URLs at the end of the video, so be sure to stick around after I'm done talking so you don't miss those. With that out of the way, let's turn our attention to the news. And this time around, I've got several just generally spooky items to talk about. The first two are centered on spooky discoveries. The first story is from the UK. Apparently a person out for a walk discovered something strange near an old hospital. Someone had hung up an assortment of old dolls and a Ouija board in the trees. They have since been removed by the local police, but that must have been a creepy discovery to make. Personally, I'd have been wondering who did it and if they were lurking around somewhere watching. Our next story has a lot of similarities to that one. It also takes place near an abandoned building in the UK. This time it's an abandoned hotel. What was found, though, was a human skull. Apparently a couple was filming around the area when they discovered the skull. Police are investigating, but have only revealed that it is definitely human remains. The final general spooky story for this time around is about a real estate offering in the state of Maine. If you've ever wanted to own a haunted inn, perhaps this is your big chance. For just a little less than $800,000, you can own the Homeport Inn in Searsport, Maine. It's a bed and breakfast that has been said to be haunted. As a bonus, the inn sits right across the street from another inn that's reportedly haunted, the Carriage House Inn. For your money, you get public ocean access, a 10,000 square foot building with 12 rooms, 11 and a half bathrooms, and a full restaurant and bar, and a separate one and two bedroom apartments. Of course, the building is not completely unoccupied, at least according to the legends. Turning next to travel, we have a story that's related to the last one in that it centers around a potential rental property. Are you a fan of Silence of the Lambs? Well, you'll soon be able to stay in the house that was used as Buffalo Bill's home in that movie. Located in Pennsylvania, the house was recently sold and is going to be made into a vacation rental property. It's even been dubbed Buffalo Bill's house. Our next travel article centers on a museum, the Living Dead Museum, also in Pennsylvania. The museum had been in Evans City, Pennsylvania since 2013, but it closed up shop last year. Devoted to the movie Night of the Living Dead, which was filmed in the area, and its creator, George Romero, it has reopened in a new location, the Monroeville Mall in the same area. The mall is a fitting location as the sequel to Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, was filmed there. As we turn our attention to books, we continue this string of articles tied to one another. That's because I'm talking about a new series of books from Witter Entertainment and comic book publisher 215 Inc. The series of books might look like children's books, but they are adaptations of classic horror films, and the very first one is where the tie-in comes in. It's Night of the Living Dead. The books are called gory books and are considered appropriate for teenagers. They are being distributed to comic book stores. Our next book story focuses on a company you probably associate with comics, Dark Horse, and it will be distributed to comic book stores as well. The book is titled Untold Horror, and it's going to be all about horror movies that were in the works but never actually finished. The book is due in July and will feature pre-production art, behind-the-scenes stories, and a lot more. I suppose since both of those books center on horror movies, switching to the movie part of the news update makes sense and continues the tie-in concept. I've got quite a bit of movie news to share too. For the first movie story, let's talk about Silent Night, Deadly Night. The 1984 movie generated a lot of controversy due to its subject matter of a killer Santa. I never really understood the controversy at the time. I mean, it was rated R, so children who believe in Santa were certainly not its target audience. There are always certain busybodies who look to tell people what is and isn't appropriate, and that was also around the time of the PMRC and their war on rock music. In any event, I'm a big fan of the original movie. I think it's actually a fairly smart stalker movie with a holiday twist. The reason it's making news is that the movie is getting the reboot treatment for a release in 2022. I hope they do a great job with it because the original is such a classic and actually kind of a personal favorite. Our next bit of news sort of ties in with the travel section. There is an upcoming 3-movie series planned on the Queen Mary. Long considered one of the most haunted ships of all time, the Queen Mary is now a tourist attraction and site of paranormal tours and such. It's also going to be one of the filming locations for the film series. The first movie will be titled The Queen Mary. The movie features actress Alice Eve, known for the Netflix Iron Fist series and Star Trek Into Darkness. The Queen Mary is scheduled for release either late this year or early next year, and the plans are for the second and third movies in the series to follow one each year after. If you missed the recent horror film The Reckoning, there are definitely options to see it. For one thing, it was released on video on demand and just last month, so you could still be able to watch it. If you'd rather own it on physical media, though, your chance will come next month. The movie will be coming out on physical media on April 6th and will have bonus features, including deleted scenes. Next, we turn our attention to spooky television. The first story is about the anthology series Creepshow that has been produced by Shudder and also shown later on AMC. The series has been renewed for a third season, so if you're a fan of the show, that should be great news. Speaking about anthology shows, Stephen King and J.J. Abrams have been in talks about doing a show that King describes as being about, quote, little horrors. We don't know a lot of details about this, but these guys have worked together in the past on things like Castle Rock, so I'd say it's safe to expect something cool from the collaboration. Speaking of Stephen King and television series, there's a new series in the works based on his horror fantasy novel, The Talisman. The show is being developed for Netflix by the team responsible for Stranger Things. For our final television story, we turn to Jack Osborne and his show with Katrina Waldman, Portals from Hell. Fans of the show should be pleased to know that the new episodes will begin dropping on Discovery Plus on March 20th. Well, that's all the news for this time. We do have some important dates to mention, but first a reminder, I'm finding all these dates on the Spooky Ventures calendar. You can find that at spookyventures.com by scrolling down the page for the link. We list birthdays, movie openings, and other dates of interest to fans of all things spooky. For the first date, I should mention the shirt I'm wearing. I'm actually really careful about what I wear when I'm on camera because a lot of public entities aren't always on board with you sporting their stuff when doing a public video. Well, today I'm wearing a Svengoolie t-shirt. That's because, based on the way the show and its host promote people publicly wearing merch, I'm sure they wouldn't mind. More importantly, though, today is the birthday of Svengoolie himself, also known is Rich Coase. So I'd like to say, happy birthday, sir. I just had to wear the shirt in honor of that date, and having met him and seeing how he loves his fans, I'm sure he won't mind the exposure. Be sure to check out his site at svengoolie.com for lots of information and watch his show on Saturdays on MeTV. And, in case you wondered, this is not a paid or even requested non-paid plug. I'm just a big fan and love the opportunity to promote Sven however I can. In terms of other birthdays, this Sunday, the 14th, is Algernon Blackwood's birthday. Looking ahead a couple weeks, April 1st is Lon Chaney's birthday. That's senior, not junior. We have just one other important date, and that's today, when the movie Honeydew opens. Well, that's all for this time. I'll see you all again in my next Spooky News segment sometime in April. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and always keep it spooky. Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.